that my background? Am I good?
Welcome to another episode of I Am the Change podcast, brought to you by DTR Incorporated, a nonprofit geared towards uplifting, inspiring, and empowering communities all around the world. Today, I'm Sharice, and today I'm here with my co-hosts Jason and Michael.
How you
Welcome.
doing?
What's up? How you doing?
How are y'all?
I'm great.
Good, good.
Great.
That's good.
Great.
I'm excited about our guest today. I have Uwe. So Uwe and I go back to when she was an undergrad at North Carolina Central University. So she would come down to the rec and do her community service. And I have been able to watch her grow and blossom to a business owner. So I'm excited about today's conversation. Hi, Uwe.
Hey.
Hey, Uwe.
Hey, what's up?
How y'all
Hey.
doing?
I got to be the first to say it though. When Sharice told me her name, I was like, I'm not calling her Uwe. She's like, that's her name, Jason. I was like, oh, well, it's different. I'll call her Uwe then. My bad.
He was like, give me something else to call her. I was like, no, but that's really her name.
That's
Yes, yes.
I've gotten that a lot.
Yeah. And so, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and put it on air. Like, I know your sister, and so like I've been trying to get your sister on forever, and she gives me the let me check my schedule, and I don't know. I'm putting it out here so like when she watches the episode, she sees me talking about her, so she knows like, yo, I'm for real. Like I'm trying to get your sister on the episode also to interview her. I think she's doing big stuff with Durham Public Schools, but you know I can't make folks come on. Sorry. Not that you are a second. Not that you're an afterthought, Uwe. You're not an afterthought. Yeah. Yeah.
You wanted my sister, got it. You wanted my sister first, and I was like, no. After watching this, I know she'll be more eager to get on the show. She's shy though. She's shy. People don't understand that. We're all shy. I know Sharice's gonna be like, Uwe, who? But we're all shy until we come out of our show.
Right.
You're like, yeah, right, okay.
He's not believing that.
I'm not. I am not believing this. But hey, so let's get into it. Like, let's hear about this CoCo drip. Let's talk about this festival. Like, I am enthralled. I want to hear about it.
Okay. So before I can tell you about the CoCo drip, I have to tell you about Queen Redefined.
I gotta hear it.
Redefined is a motivational platform for Black women, especially Black women. So Queen Redefined came about when I was an undergrad, had a blast. Okay, it was a movie. But you know,
what's the rating? Wait, what's the rating? Is it PG?
5 stars. Okay.
No, is it PG? Is it PG 13?
Rated R, depending on which day of the week, what year.
Okay.
Had a blast, but as you graduate, you really start to like find yourself and figure out life. And I was the president of 100 Black women in undergrad, where it was a bunch of us were women. We're trying to just make it through undergrad, right? But once you graduate, once you just leave the university, you don't get that free library paper. You don't get the free meals that you used to just waste. You don't get the free gym membership without it. You paying like it's just life gets you right. And so when I went back to CCU in grad school, I was in grad school. Honestly, I went back because I was like, it's hard out here. You know what I'm saying? All right. And I was in a relationship, and just trying to. And I was working at the Women's Center. Shout out to Miss Jenny Borkes. And I had to supervise a group of Any Day Shepherd scholars, right? All women cohort trying to navigate their way through undergrad themselves. I'm in grad school. So in a relationship, just moved back to Durham from Greensboro, in grad school, all of these things are going on, right?
Right.
And in life, sometimes, back then I was younger, so I'm speaking as my younger self. You have to do it yourself, right? Like you don't have this community. So that relationship that I was in, trying to front for that relationship, trying to be this person that they know me to be in undergrad, realizing that I'm not that person anymore, I started to feel boxed in, right? And as I'm dealing with these young women, having to tell them how to navigate life, be themselves, it was therapeutic because I'm learning for myself, right? And I'm I said, but who am I to give them advice? And I'm going through all these other things in the background. You know, who am I? I'm not even queenly no more. Like, because society says I'm supposed to be doing this, I'm supposed to be this, like, you know, and I'm African, I'm supposed to have a baby in a few years, supposed to be married. Like, is these things that society's telling me I'm supposed to be doing, I'm supposed to be acting like, supposed to be looking like, and I'm doing the opposite. Like, I'm not no longer fitting this stereotype of what society says I'm supposed to be, and I have to mentor to these young girls, right? And be in this relationship in XYZ. So one day I'm in my apartment, and I'm just like, this is fake. I'm not being myself. This is fake. Like, I have to get some stuff about myself, right? And at the end of the day, I am a queen. And society is not going to tell me who I'm not, because I know whose I am, right? And that's where Queen Redefined came in at. At the end of the day, society does not define you. You define yourself. So even though we're going through all it, come on. Even
that should be a shirt. That should be on a shirt somewhere.
It is on a shirt.
Oh, wow.
So even though we're going through so many different things, and even as I talk to you, I'm still like, woo, girl. You know, but I tell people this about business, right? If you don't feel it and you don't know your why, it ain't gonna sell. It's just not, but we're gonna talk about that, right? So I'm like, I'm gonna redefine who I am. I thank y'all so much for saying I'm this person and I'm this person and I'm this person, but this is who I am. And once I got to understand who I was and who I was not, my life started to change. And these advice that I was giving these girls started to, I meant it. It was true. It was accurate. I was living my truth with them. And that itself is the blossom of Queen Redefined. So Queen Redefined is just a motivational platform for Black women. We do Queen Spotlight, where every month we spotlight a Black woman that is doing something. It doesn't
I'm
have
trying to make it up there. I'm trying.
You will, man. That is doing something. We sell apparel, because sometimes you might need to wear that button every day. You might need to wear that shirt. You may need to wear something to remind yourself, ooh, I am who I am. I have one that says Black Beautiful Proud, right? I do reflections. I blog on there as well because it's therapeutic for me. We do events. When I was in Durham, I'm now located in Atlanta. When I was in Durham, we did volunteer service. We did events. We did things of that nature. We did things to come together. What I did was I created 100 Black women, but I kind of created it into a Queen Redefined grown women, right? You know, because I realized how much of a platform that was. And my first vending event was at North Carolina Central University. So before I talk about the CoCo drip and people start asking me about me hosting it, I used to be a vendor. Okay. I used to have a table in my trunk. Okay. And it's still in my trunk. It's in my trunk. I would pop it open any moment. No, that sounded like I was going to get violent. Okay. Let me go back.
No. It's not.
I have a table. You're going to edit this. I have a table.
We don't edit anything. We keep it real. We do bloopers and all.
You popping the trunk on people. We keeping it in.
I have a table in my trunk, and I used to, my mom, I started buying shirts, and like I had a business partner at this time, and I had a business partner, and it was a guy, and he believed in what I was saying, but so many people was telling us like, this is about to hit, because when they heard me talk about it, it was like, ding, ding. I don't know if they was like ching, 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 but at that time, y'all have to understand, it wasn't about the money. It was about like, y'all gotta understand, I gotta graduate, and this is helping my mental. I want to do it right. I want to do a photo shoot where the ladies walk in. I want to do this, and he was like, like when I tell you, people heard money signs, and not saying that maybe now looking back on it, it could have been some fear. It could have been some fear, right? But I'm also believing in baby steps in business, right? I'm also believing in getting it out there first before you reach for it. I'm okay with crawling before I have to run, right? And we started to clash, and he was just like, look, you do it your way. And at first, I started to get sad, like, I want a partner. The guy was like, you want a partner because you're scared. You want a partner because you're scared. You want somebody that you can bounce it off of, but you got me, right? So they signed over all their rights, XYZ, boom, boom, boom. And I was like, ooh, I can't be scared anymore. We did a photo shoot. The ladies, it was 5 ladies, and we did a photo shoot, and they had on the Queen Redefined apparel. And then once I launched it, it's all about scheduling content too. You can post something out there, but did you tease the people? Do they know what it is? Like, so the photo shoot was bringing it out, right? So they saw, and I hand selected some of the women that I saw that was on campus, right? And just that was my target audience. You have to know where you're at in business, right? Some people be like, my target audience is Australia. Baby, it's Africa. No, you live in America. You live in North Carolina. Who are you targeting here?
Yeah,
At that time, I was at the Women's Center and I was at North Carolina Central University. Like, the best HBCU in the world. Like, this was.
Whoa. We can edit that out.
I had a market.
Whoa. Okay, I'm let you go ahead. Go ahead. You're our guest today, but go ahead. I'm let you add out. Go ahead.
So I was like, okay, let me pick some leaders. Not even leaders, right? Because I don't even want you to think that only leaders are queens, right? I mean, let me select someone over here that I met in the cab that was telling me about her story. Let me get a volunteer. Let me get somebody from here. So I was like 5 of us, right? Just different people. Did the photo shoot, launched it, and then I, at the time, of course, at campuses, you can set up vendor opportunities, and I started selling the shirts. Sweatshirts, like from my trunk, from my box, would come to the Women's Center, everything. My mom and me used to fold it up. We used to drive everywhere, give it to people, XYZ. But people don't realize, like, before you see me, and I'm going to talk about the CoCo drip, y'all have to realize I've been doing this since 2000 and really 13, 14, right? And then I had to take a break. I took a break from Redefined because, again, I feel like God gave me a vision that I was not going to be able to execute if I didn't have myself right.
So let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
I hate to cut you off. I got to ask this question. Queenly Defined, do you think, I'm a big component of the community. With Queenly Defined, do you think, in some instances, Black women are put on Front Street to do certain things, to be the blueprint, and then let society then come in and say, this is how it should be done this way. Boom, boom, boom. I'm gonna give you an example. The reason I asked that question is because the recent situation that just happened in Memphis. I'm not gonna go into it. The police chief was swift with her justice. She was swift with her actions and her justice. And it was 20 days from the day it happened to the day that the justice went down. Everything was done. When I say done, but everything was brought out.
Right.
There were other instances when they had police instances like this where they drug on. Captain, his last name was Watkins, isn't it?
I think I know Shimasoro now. Go ahead.
Yes. So Captain Watkins was very swift in what she did. She didn't drag her feet. She went straight with it, and she got to the humanity of it. And she put the justice.
The police chief in Memphis?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Last name is Davis. She came from Durham.
Right. So I can remember her last name.
Yeah.
So
Davis.
Captain Davis was very swift with her justice. Chief Davis. Sorry. My bad. Please correct me. Chief Davis's justice was very swift. It was swifter than any other police officers, police captain, chief's justice that had been done in the past. And I asked that question about being put on Front Street because I'm like, do you think that this Black woman that was put in this position, that she had to act? Do you think that now her blueprint was put there? This queen was used to put a blueprint out that the world now has to follow or should have followed previously.
Oh, but Uwe, before you answer that question, let me add one more thing. I also hope that people will see, because she did make a decision on Thursday or early Friday before the video was released about not disbanding the special unit. And then after the video came out and looking at how people reacted, she retracted that and then ended up disbanding the unit. So I want people to also say, I can say something and be okay with also taking that back. But answer his question, Uwe.
So y'all do the politics and stuff. You see, that's what I'm gonna say this. You see, I had to think. Okay, so
No, and I apologize because I had this conversation earlier, and I wanted your opinion because
I think, and I don't know her. I'm speaking for myself, so let me say that. I think that the pressure, I don't think people realize pressure that is put on you as a Black woman sometimes. As Black, I think her being in that position, she, again, I don't know her, but I can only imagine the pressure that you feel like now you have to respond quickly. You have to say something quickly. You have to do this quickly, right? Because now it's not like the whole situation, like, first of all, the whole situation is heartbreaking and disappointing. Because at any point, and I don't even talk about that, but we don't, at any point, these 5 men, and one thing is I love Black women, but I love and respect cold-heartedly Black men. Just because I don't have a queen redefined does not mean I do not. But it's disappointing to see these 5 Black men do this to another Black man and not 1 minute say, that is my brother, that is my niece, nephew, that is my uncle, that is my little brother, like something, right? So as a Black woman, I can only imagine how she's feeling, right?
Right.
Again, with your question, did y'all do this to all the other police officers who took their time, who did what they wanted? Like, again, do you see the pressure of like having to perform, having to do, having to come, having to protect? In the back of her mind, I don't know. These are all Black men. My heart goes out to her, to be honest with you.
I agree. Mine too. Yeah.
That Black man over here, Black man over here. Like a loss is that is, I could only imagine, right?
Loss is a loss, yeah.
A loss is a loss. I agree with you, Queen. The fact that she was able to say, I said this, and I'm gonna come back. That is the Queen. Like, I'm going to go back and okay, I said that. And I can also say I'm going to take that back and I'm going to say this. Like, I admire her for saying, you know what? I thought about it. I'm human. I may have thought it was going to go this way, but after seeing this, and because I'm able and obligated to be a human being and change my mind if I need to, I'm going to change it to this. And I think she made the right choice, right? But again, I for some reason, I feel like this is about to come back to her again. I feel like, even this morning, I read something about Chief such and such. She did this in Durham, and this is why it's like, regardless of whatever she do, I don't know, for some reason, it's about to go back again to the Black woman. Like, even it was Sierra. I think a broadcaster said something about, this is what happens when you're a part of a single home or XYZ. Something happened. And it was like, how in the midst of everything you just saw,
did you
see a single parent,
to a Black, in the midst of everything,
you're
gonna come back to this is what a Black woman. That's what I mean by Redefined. Like, it's always people, society telling us what we got to do, how we got to act, what we got to XYZ. If you don't get some self about yourself in this society, you're gonna think you're useless. You're gonna think you're not. You gonna think you're not valued. You're gonna think, why do these Black men need me? You got to get some self about yourself, because at any moment, you want society to love on you. You want your Black men to love on you. You want these things, but that doesn't always happen. You know, and I'm glad that the Chief was able to say, like, I need to go back on this statement, right? But do I think that she is gonna, for some reason, I don't know why, it's gonna come back to, is this how she was running it? Is this shit? Because I'm not trying to be, and again, I'm not taking up for anyone. Right. Said, how did these Black men think
this was okay? That
you can do somebody like, back in the day when let me not say where I'm from, child, because I don't know what y'all think.
All right, it's okay.
But back in the movies, you do that type of stuff to somebody like that, you might as well just. Let me not say finish it. I mean, anyway, you don't bring. What made y'all think you could take this to a hospital or back to your precinct looking like that and it was gonna be okay? So that is also gonna bring people like, what has been going on? And the part, you see, again, that's what I'm saying. It's all gonna go back, and I just hope that her team has her back, and again, but justice has to be served. That was unacceptable. That was terrible. I watched it, and sometimes some people are saying I'm not gonna watch it because I completely get that and I respect it. But for me, to be continue to be self-aware in this society that I live in.
You got to see it.
See,
my thing with it was, my thing is protect the Black woman. Don't just don't put her out, don't throw her out in the forefront and say, hey, you go do this job. My thing is protect her, because at the end of the day, now you put her in a position that she has to make a decision. There's no right or wrong answer. Justice has to be served. But at the same time, you put out a blueprint that should have been put out 30 years ago, when there was when there was a taping. There was undisputed evidence that these 4 officers in Los Angeles were guilty, and yet here we are years later, a Black woman has to put a precedent out to say, hey, this is how you serve swift and precise justice. And I'm like,
but this is the thing, Black women, we lead. We don't mind doing that, right?
Right, but it shouldn't. To me, you shouldn't have to.
You shouldn't have to, right?
Right.
But I think sometimes what's going on now is, some of the conversations I'm having with Black women is, do I even want to lead if I have to take the fall for everything?
Exactly.
Like, this should have been going on, right? You all should have quickly said what you had to say, but it's like, for some reason, it's going to come back to, oh, she shouldn't have done that, right? Or XYZ, or what's going on. Now y'all looking into my background. Now y'all doing this. Like, at the end of the day, when do, like, we get tired too? You know, like, I can only imagine what she has to go through, like, from both ends. That was just like, wow. In my head, I'm a PR person and I couldn't even fix this. I
had to ask the question, because with Queens Defined, I wanted to know, like, one, I want to know your opinion, and two, I just feel like as a Black man who has sisters, who has a daughter, who has a wife, who has a mother, aunts, to me, protecting Black women is not a choice. It's a responsibility. So that's just me.
And even with protecting Black women, right? I think people have to come to a point where, like, even like I have this conversation with people. It's 2023. Communication is key, and we really have to start breaking down these definitions, right? Because everybody is saying protect Black women, right? But what's your definition of protect Black women? And it's okay to not have the same definitions in life. Like, even when it comes to business, when it comes to 50-50, when it comes to being a ghostwriter, when it comes to being like XY business partner, what's your definition?
Right.
We have to start asking these questions. What is your definition of this, this, and this, and this? It's not saying that yours is not right, mine is not right. It's just saying so we can come to a middle ground of, now that I know, right? Because when I hear some people say protect Black women, and then I see their actions, there's no, we definitely don't have the same definition.
Right.
And I think we need to start in these conversations, like, protect Black women. That means, I will provide, I will support, I will not allow you to call my female partners bitch.
You can curse, go ahead, get it out. Yeah, let it out. Let it out.
What is, like, I think that conversation needs to happen, so I just wanted to put that in there. But so Queen Redefined is about knowing who you are, and it seems like the chief this is going to be a test for her, right? She's going to get it from all different ways. She's about to get it from, there was this one, I posted on my IG story. This one woman broke it down so good. She was like, what really is disappointing about all of this is, if you think that now those white men in blue, or those police officers, that team, right, is about to come for you Black men, now that's wrong. They're not coming for you. Now we as Black people can't even bring casserole to your families because you have disappointed. Like, I don't think these 5, I don't think y'all understand, if you really break it down, and I know this is not the podcast to do that in, what they just did. They set us back. Like, this is like, you set us back. So people now are going to be like, oh, they wasn't fraternities. Oh, they went to HBCU. Now they're gonna try to pick us, and this is when we as a people can't break. Right?
This is when
they're gonna come for our education. They're gonna come for our community. They're gonna come for everything in a few. They're gonna say, this is what we are. This is who we are. This is now no longer just Queen Redefined. This is Black Redefined. Do not allow now society now tell us who we are and who we're not, because they're coming for it. Like, this is a lose-lose, right? So what we do now? Do we now back down and say we didn't go to HBCUs, we're not in sororities and fraternities, we did come from single parents? Do we now back down on who we are? Do we stand in our truth and say not all?
Right, I agree. I agree. You got to stand in your truth and say not all. Yeah.
They're coming. Now, when have you ever seen where now, you see, that's why I can't talk about stuff like this, that's why y'all should just go on back to,
hey, man, hey.
No, but that's what, it's good though, because it needs to be said. But this is where too, where the Black Lives Matter movement is about to, because you hear all the time, like you get the White Lives Matter or All Lives Matter. And because the fight for Black Lives Matter, and they're gonna be like, well, as 5 Black men, this man's life didn't matter to you.
Right.
When have you seen them? You trying to tell me all these? Ooh, we did child.
Sorry, go ahead.
When you seen them post fraternity, shields on people's neck? Like they are now trying to make us as Black people feel less than. When have they, like, don't get me wrong, everything they're posting is accurate, but when have y'all ever done that to you trying to tell me Billy Joe over there ain't a part of KKK, I saw sorority, whatever they from? Like, you trying to tell me all these stuff didn't happen? When have y'all broke down like this? They want to now make us feel like, oh, look at them, HBCUs, fraternities, sororities, single parent home, Black community. When this is,
it's the division, it's the divisiveness that shows.
They're trying to divide us, but this is when we say wrong is wrong, right is right, and stand on who we are.
Right.
Yes, I went to HBCU. Yes, I'm still a part of that organization. Yes, I did this. Yes, I'm from a single home, but look at who I am now. I'm not who society still does not define me. They're going to try to define us now as one and say we are all like the 5 that did that. That's not true. It's not true. But I'm telling you, it's coming. It's coming. It's coming.
Yeah. So it's coming like the CoCo Drip next event is coming too.
Oh yeah. So let's
That was a good segue back in, Jason.
You like that one? I
like that.
Yeah.
So when Redefined happened, again, just knowing who I am, I had to take a break from it, and I started to put all my eggs in one basket. In business, you don't have to do that. I think sometimes people think that once you start this one business, you can't do nothing else. That is it. You cannot do nothing else. That is not true, right? So I partnered up with another alumni. Her name is Brianna Kennedy, Brianna Hargrove Kennedy. She's also an alum of North Carolina Central University. We actually started doing Black Women of Durham, which is bringing more awareness to just the fact that it was like a big 100 Black women, basically, just building that community for Black women in the Durham community. So we was doing volunteer work, voting together, XYZ. So one day we went downtown Durham. Shout out to downtown Durham. It's a pro and a con. Is completely different from when I was here in Durham in 2008 all the way to 12. Now people are walking down with their dogs, sitting in a park and having fun. I love it, but at the same time, it's like, let's bring some more Blackness to this part, right? You cannot what is ours, right? I need to stop talking like this because I really love everybody, okay? I love everybody. Let's just set the record. I love everybody, okay? Woo!
Hey, so just talking the way you're talking doesn't mean you don't love everybody. You're just talking about
you have a passion for what you have a passion for. Right.
So somebody was like, we don't see events in downtown Durham. We want some events for Black women just to go out with some girls. And we was like, okay, we can create that, thinking of Black Women of Durham, right? But then we was like, we needed to be a business because Black Women of Durham is more volunteer. We don't collect money. If anything, it would be more of a nonprofit, right? So me and Brianna at the time, we was just talking. We was like, we got to think of a name. So we thought of, this was before the pandemic. We was like, ooh, we can do something intimate, late at night, wear your best outfit. We'll have some vendors, we'll have some music, just like a girl's night, right? Very intimate, close. Remind you, I'm about to say about the pandemic. Intimate, close is what we wanted, right? Before the pandemic. We was thinking of names, right? And we was like, what name can we call this? What name can we call it? What name can we call it? We was like, we're Black. No, that's right. They're going to be Black. Oh, yeah, they're going to be Black, too. The space is owned by Black people. Okay. She was like, ooh, it's going to be dripping. CoCo Drip. And we was like, CoCo Drip? And she was like, CoCo Drip. So the reason why it's CoCo Drip is because all the way from the host, which is us, to either the musician that was going to be there, the artist that was going to be there, the vendors that was going to be there, they was going to be Black. And then the at the time, the people who owned the venue was Black. So it was just dripping. Everywhere you look is drip. So it's CoCo drip, right? The pandemic,
Black excellence.
Okay. The pandemic said you thought y'all was going to do it. Intimate and close and sharing stuff and touching and
not with COVID.
Not with COVID. So we had to cancel that. And sometimes I think, you know, as an entrepreneur, people think that because one plan didn't work is gone. No, sometimes you got to put it back in the sun. You got to water it a little bit more. You got to go back to the drawing board. It's okay, right? The pandemic was we could not do something inside. That is okay. But during the pandemic, we saw so many businesses blossom and get created, right? Like, you know, when you at home, when you, as long as, you know, this was the beginning of the pandemic, when everybody was taking it serious, like you was really inside, people was learning new type of skills, braiding and doing this and making candles and
making their own little hand the little hand sanitizer,
everything. People was and we was like, wow, this is so dope. But we also saw a lot of businesses start to give up on themselves. Like, no one's buying this anymore. There's so many people doing it now. How can I fit? And I was like, okay, let's go back to the drawing board. We can't do the intimate CoCo drip, but you know, maybe we can do something outside, right? Because at the time they were saying you could be outside, still wear a mask. You know, XYZ
separate a little bit.
Yeah, separate 6 feet. We was like, okay, we can still do something. And pop-up shops started. Like, well, you know, let me not say that because I'm in Atlanta and I think they've been doing it all their lives, okay? But for us, in Durham.
So the pandemic changed how people did business.
Yeah, it really did. And then we started to revamp what we had. It was a song that says, I think Lord, he did it in one of his songs. He said, had to think of a new path to the same dream. Like, basically, just start over. It's okay to start over. I think sometimes people just get so scared to start over. Like, he didn't say that. I don't know why I'm quoting him. It was something else. I'll let you know what he said, but he didn't say that. So basically, shout out to Hair Rising in Durham. They have a store on Guest Road. And at the time, you know, I was also getting shea butter because, you know, got to keep this chocolate the way I got to keep the chocolate.
Gotta keep it silky.
Yeah, it's okay. So I was like, one day I'm talking to them, Joy and her mom, and I'm just like, can we use outside? Like, people didn't realize that they had like a backspace, right? Mm-hmm. And they worked with us, and we was like, we're gonna do the CoCo drip back there. We're gonna do like maybe 10 vendors, right? Black women owned. And the reason why we're gonna do Black women owned is because we got to be different, right? I was watching BMF yesterday. I was taking some notes too. People be watching. I'm taking notes, okay? Because shows like that, you know, it is a lot of lessons in those type of shows, right?
It is.
Good or not? Well, I have a whole sheet, okay? Whole sheet.
Right.
So not saying I'm whipping nothing up in the kitchen or nothing like that. I'm just
saying. I'm saying.
So
not 2 parts baking soda, one part water.
Yeah.
I get it.
So they let us have it back there. Of course, business is business. This was the first time, so we're trying to figure out like how much is it going to be to use back there? How much are we going to charge the vendors? You know, and again, we started off doing it just to give hope, just to be like, look, bring the businesses, XYZ, just to get us back in there as well, because we'd never done it. We didn't have a chance to do the pandemic. So we had like about 10 Black women-owned businesses back there, Hair Rising, and we did it for our first time. It was a hit, right? It was a hit to our eyes. Mm-hmm. It was a hit for what we needed it to be, right? Then it was like, oh, what is this? We doing pop-ups, and then pop-ups started, Durham people started doing pop-ups. Like in different places, we was like, okay, one thing I always tell people too is I don't believe in competition, right? I believe that if God gives you a vision and you stay true to you, again, this is all again going back tied into Queen Redefined, who are you? Who do you know, right? There is competition and people might see you as competition, but if your goal is to beat the competition, you won't get far. You're going to be distracted. Your goal is to be the best version of your business that you can be for you. So when we started seeing these pop-up shops, we wasn't like, oh, now they want to do a pop-up. Oh, now they do oh, they done pop up.
Make that face again. Make that face again. All right.
They doing a pop-up. We was sharing the information. I was going to them like, we're all trying to get it. Mm-hmm. we're all trying to win. It doesn't have to be like that, right? So we was like, let's do it again, right? We wanted to do it for Black Friday, right? And I'm not gonna say the name of the restaurant only because I'm gonna tell you this lesson because we had to go through it so we can continue to learn, right? So we was like, we need a food truck. We need this, right? So we got to make ours bigger, right? And they told us that we would have to put down a certain amount to get the food truck, but we have to guarantee this amount back or they keep the rest of the money. We had confidence, like, yeah, we're gonna do it, even though it sounded like we was about to lose some money. We was gonna lose some money, right? But we had so much confidence, we was like, no, just go ahead, we'll do it, blah, blah, blah. At the time, we didn't realize we are a small business, but we was playing with a big business, right? And some businesses don't have that same type of heart that we have. Business is business. And we respect it. That's why I'm not even gonna put their name out there because we needed to learn that lesson. So we didn't meet the quota. It was a hit to our eyes. A pop-up shop is when you come and go, especially during the pandemic at the time. This wasn't coming in hopping around. It was you shop and you go, you put your mask on, you come and go, right? So the amount that they told us we had to make, in our eyes at the time, it was realistic because it was like XYZ, but we didn't think everybody don't want that food. Right, we didn't think some people are not coming, but maybe we could have done pre-orders. Maybe now as we're like grown, we're thinking of other things that we could have done. We basically did not meet the quota, and they was like, "Where's our money?" Right, where's our money? And we gave them the money. We did not complain. We did not get mad. We gave them the money because we knew at the end of the day, we both were praying women, and we knew who we were. Right. And we knew it was going to come back to us. So that was an L that we took, right? But it was an L that we needed to take. So when next time we do business, we know the stipulations. Can we do 50-50? Can we do this instead of this? Like sometimes in business, people don't want to fail. They don't even like that word fail, right? Because I think, again, definitions, right? What's your definition of failing? Because my definition, Uwe's definition of failing is when you stay down.
Right, exactly.
If you stay down, and you don't never get up, or you never attempt to even get up, you even just you don't even attempt, you have failed. What's your definition? What does failing, like when you hear failing, what is your definition of failing?
I think even before starting the business that I do, it is not meeting my goal.
Okay.
But what I've learned is sometimes my goal at the time, it could still be my goal, but I may need to meet smaller things before I get to my bigger goal. Okay. So it's not a fail. It's just I haven't met it yet.
Okay.
So.
Okay. What you got, Michael?
I'm kind of the same place Uwe is. Like, I don't see anything as a failure unless you stay down. Like, it's got to be a lesson from it. If you get a lesson from it, and you can adapt or pivot in the way you need to, readjust everything, and then keep pushing forward so that same thing doesn't happen again. I mean, it's not a failure. It's just a lesson you had to learn along the way.
Yeah, I gotta chime in and go with Michael and Uwe. I agree. If you beat me the first time, hey, let's do it again, because the second time I'm coming back. I learned a little bit. Yeah.
And the reason why I asked y'all that is because back then we thought we failed in that event. Because we didn't meet their quote that what they told us we had to meet. So we was like, dang, we felt bad. And this time we had like maybe 10, 15 vendors back there. So we just, we're going around, we're very personable people. We was like, hey, thank you for coming to the CoCo Drip. Hope you have fun. We was getting, I had a blast. I sold out.
Yeah.
I said, oh, okay. Yeah, I saw that. Thank you so much. We walking some more. Thank you for holding this event. This was the best event I've ever had. I was about to give up on this, blah, 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 blah. And but again, in our mind, we failed. We keep going. Ooh, I didn't even know this was out here. I didn't even know Hair Rising was out here. It was out here. I went inside and got some shape, and I met some people, blah, blah, blah. Kept going, oh, hey, thank you so much for introducing me to such and such. I didn't even know their child goes to blah, 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 blah.
Right.
We thought we failed because we didn't meet their quote.
You went off what society said is
we went off of what they, at that moment, their society. They told us that we had to, you see, look at the mind. The mind is so strong, right? They told us they had to make, I think, 1,000 or 2,000 in sales.
Right.
our mind, if they didn't make that, we
Then
failed.
our event.
Right. Then our event failed. Yeah.
They just don't want to eat that. They just didn't want to eat that. Some people was going somewhere else afterwards. Like some people was going. In our minds, we failed, and we have to check ourselves. That's what we're doing it for. They're networking. They're meeting each other. They're selling out. They're believing in themselves again. They're having hope in themselves again. That's what we're doing it for. One person get one sale, that is a success. A win is a win. I love that thing. That is like a win is a win. A win is a win.
I think you had to look at not to cut you off, you had to look at the parameters of your business, and you had to develop it, and you had to redefine it in that moment. When you didn't hit the societal goal, you had to look at it and say, but did the vendors make money? Was networking done? Was the business saved? Was a win a win? Yeah, and so it's funny because the pastor was talking about that this morning in the church. Was like learning through losses, and you learn.
A loss, there's a lesson in all of it if you receive it.
Yeah.
Don't receive it. I think sometimes business owners, they want to be like, oh, got it, because I've been like that. Oh, this is it, this is not it, this is not it. Sometimes it would not be it, and it's okay.
Sometimes you got to go through something. Sometimes you got to start something to fail to get you to the other side. And then when you get to the other side, you're like, oh gosh, that's what I got to get to? Dang.
And it's okay. Because falling, all those things are two different words. You got to fall a little bit, you got to tumble, you got to hit your knee a little bit, you got to do, but did you get up?
Yes. Was it over? Did you die?
Did you die? Did you die? But
I died to 10. Did you die? Yeah.
So let's not talk about dying, all this man going on.
I'm sorry. Yeah, too soon.
Too soon. So at the end of the day, we have to remember our why.
Right, exactly.
Business, we forget our why because that money starts looking really nice, right? But you always have to go back to our why. The CoCo Drip is bringing together Black women-owned businesses in a space created by Black women. Period.
So is there going to be a CoCo Drip Atlanta?
Yes. So as we're going, we're learning. Like when I tell you, we used to get on calls like, oh, you saw that? That didn't go right. We started getting happy knowing like when things like we was of course giving ourselves recognition. We always start our meetings with, how are you? Because mental health is key. How are you? You doing okay? You good? Everything's good? And then we say, what are some pros? What happened at this event that you like? What are some not even cons, what are some things we can continue to work on, right? So the road trip started. Women's History Month is March, right? One thing about me is I strategize, I market, again, we'll go into like what I do now as a consultant, right? I like to always think of how I can be different, right? I talk about the bread out all the time. At the end of the day, leave that people bread alone. When you walk down the bread aisle, you cannot want there to be only one piece of bread, one loaf of bread, one brand. There's multiple brands. Some people like in their bread, some people like cinnamon in their bread, some people like other stuff. Leave that bread out alone and create your own. How are yours going to stand out? You might need some purple branding on yours. You might need to put some raisins and almonds in your bread. Like, you do your thing. So I always try to figure out how I can stand out, right? How can I stand out? So we was like, Women's History Month, March, we're all women, Black women. Let's go on a tour. Like, let's look at other places we can go aside from Durham, right? So then we went to Charlotte, then we went to Fayetteville, and then so first utilize I think sometimes people don't utilize themselves, right? I think this was the second road trip tour we did. And I was like, I'm from High Point. Let's do one in High Point, right? So I reached out to my friend Tasman Williams. She has a venue in High Point, right? We did Charlotte, we went to Maryland. Maryland was like, look, we still kind of shut down.
Right.
We're not up. They was like, okay, let's do a virtual.
You got to go to Texas. Texas never closed. Texas never closed. I went to Texas in the pandemic. They never closed.
I don't think Atlanta or Texas closed. Atlanta was open. And at the time I had a friend that stayed down here. So he was like, and Brianna is from Georgia, right? So we utilized our people and who we were, and we honestly did a road trip in these, and we had to look for a venue. So we broke down what we needed to do, and we had to start early. I think sometimes people see what they see, but you don't. You want me to tell you why some people rather just attend than do it, right? Because is not the same. You got to do venues. You got to do the revenue.
They don't want to do the work.
The work, and I'm okay with that, right? But it's not, to be an entrepreneur, to be in business, is not always fun. It's not always Skittles, rainbows. It's not always me looking this cute. Sometimes if you FaceTime me on a good day, I'm looking like, whoo, you know what I'm saying? Still chocolate, but whoo,
not woo,
woo,
not woo.
good, good. You know, like, it's not always cute. It gets messy. It gets sad. XYZ. But you will reap the reward if you stay true to your business, right?
But see, that goes back to the conversations that you talked about when y'all have mental health is key. It's mentorship. You got to tell somebody, hey, look, you're gonna go through this. You're gonna have some ugly days. You're gonna have some. I'm down to my last $10 days. How do I get through? And then somebody's got to tell you, hey, look, I've been there. This is what you got to do. Invest that last 10. Chuck it down on faith, keep on pushing.
Yep.
And even in business, right? So like, even when people see us, and it's so funny because everyone's kind of doing a pop-up, right? And I'm gonna be honest with y'all, like, when we first started the CoCo Drip, it was not about the money. We was not reaping. We was doing God's work. God told us to do it, and we did it. Like, it wasn't, I ain't getting enough people like trying to add up our money. You don't know how much we're paying for venue. You saw balloons. You don't know how much we paid for the balloon decor. You saw the yard sign, and you're like, hey, y'all saw. You don't know how much that costs. You don't know how much it costs to bring the, XYZ. You don't know how long it took to bring the COVID testing down here. We had to search them down to bring them. It's so many things that go into it. But it's like, at first we was like, I think we went, it's been plenty of times we went through like, what do we get? And we all work, and we work full-time jobs. So it was like, what are we getting from this? And every time we had to tell ourselves, we go back to our why and say, we'll see it soon.
Yeah, we'll I got a vendor for you too when y'all do it in line.
Okay, we'll see it soon. But if you, but I think a lot of times, what drives you? If you started because of the money, it may not last long. Yeah, I have to be honest with you. I would say in 2023, we may just now be reaping at least a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
And I'm trying to get y'all to Florida in 2024.
I'm not going to say, listen, give God all the glory. We've reaped it from the people that we've met, the opportunities that we have. So we've reaped it. But I'm talking about financially being like, you're talking about financially in your pockets. Yes. And because you've opened the floodgates and let people eat. Now it's time for you to get full. When I tell you we've had a vendor tell us, thank you all so much. I just paid my mortgage today with what I'm getting. They're vendors that have made more money, honestly. And again, you got to know your heart, right? Mm-hmm. When they tell you that, in my heart, I'm not like, is that right? And you pay $50 for a vendor fee. And you pay $5 for a vendor fee. You chuck that last $10 down and knew it was going to work. I'm happy for them. Mm-hmm. They have says, y'all don't know, I paid my mortgage with what I made today. People have left with more money than we have made for that whole one event. But that's what you want. You want somebody to speak positive about your event, and you want somebody to win. Like you said, a win is a win. Mm-hmm. If that woman paid her mortgage off your event, you won because you helped somebody pay their mortgage without having to go in your pocket and start choking hundreds. It's a win. So like, this is what we're doing the CoCo Drip for. We want to tell people, we didn't realize so many Black women make so many things. We have had everything. We have from waist beads, waist trainer, making black dolls out of yarn. We have desserts. We have food. We have, what else? We have shoes. They didn't make the shoes, but they have a shoe business. Well, I don't know if they made the shoes. They might have made the shoes. I don't know, but we have shirt companies. We've had so much different things like wreaths, handmade wreaths. We've had flowers. We've had shades. We have people you can sell anything that is legal, right? And one thing that we don't do is we don't say, again, it's all tied into Queen Redefined. We don't say, oh, you can't come because I don't believe in that, or you can't come because of this. If it's legal, right, you can probably sell it. If you do hookah stands, if you sell it, you can come. Like, just because me and Brianna may not engage in that one thing, who are we to say another Black woman or another person would not, right? So if it's legal, you can sell it.
And again, you also, and what I like about it, so I've participated or tried to participate in pop-ups that were supposed to be for, Black women. And I was shunned because my product is not something that I personally make. Even though it's my business, I pay taxes on it. But they were like, did you make it? I'm like, no. They're like, well, that's not what we're looking for. And I'm like, but I'm still a Black business.
Now, Queen, I'm gonna be honest with you. Okay? I'll be honest with you. So let's put it out there. What's your business? Let's put it out there. Your business is?
I sell Mary Kay.
Okay. So I think it depends on the atmosphere that they're trying to build, right?
Right.
I think it depends on the venue, right? So I can see your way and I can see their way, right? I think me being biased, you can come anything and I'm at, no, I'm just playing, no. You
got a spot on her CoCo drip.
But then if you have someone else who and that does get and I'm glad you brought that up, it does get sticky, right? When you have someone who signs up that does like XYZ, then you have somebody that's saying like, oh, I make these products, right? And again, we always have to go back to the drawing board of what do we have? So like, let's say for instance, we didn't have anyone that made it, right? I would circle back with you and say, hey, if you still, and I won't tell you, hey girl, I'm coming to you because then nobody else make it. I'll say, hey, we still need that, right? Because you need one thing that we try to do also in the CoCo drip, we don't like competition. We realized that, and this is no shade to no one else, but we wanted to make ourselves different. What we didn't want to do was have a venue. If a venue tells us that we have 20 spots, right? I don't want 10 of them to be CoCo shea butter.
Right.
10 would not be shea butter. 2 would be shea butter, right? If we can only do 20 vendors and there's only 10 vendors, we're not having 3 selling waist beads. We're going to have 1, right? Because that's how sometimes the conflict can start in the competition.
It's strategic.
This is not what this is for. So even in the CoCo drip, when you go to our website, there's categories and there's, but let me talk to y'all. Before we had a website, we was doing this by hand, okay? We would create a form where people would put their name, the last name, the address, then we'll start in Excel. That's why it's so cute, because it's cute when people only see the now, but they don't look at the backstory, right? But and that's why I tell some business owners, you got to put in that work. Everything don't come so easy. You got to put in that work. Like, we're able to see it now because we used to do it hand by hand. I am honestly moving the words. I'm sending out an email. I am the website, right? We then invested in the website, and that's why we have what we have now, right? We was honestly going through the spreadsheet like 2 beauties, 2 food, 1 food, 2 like, and a part and working full time. And Brianna is a whole mother and a wife, like doing all of that, right? So now, and again, people ask me, when y'all do this CoCo drip, y'all think of us, y'all like the setup time. We try to have volunteers come and set up and help and XYZ. I said, you want to tell you why I think about this? Oh, one year we had a branding package where, like, as vendors, if they wanted to, they could get the tablecloth, a standing banner, business card, and it was another Black business that was giving it away. So if they was part of the CoCo drip, even if they didn't want it for the CoCo drip or another time to prepare them for the CoCo drip, we gave them his information. So for their CoCo drip, when it was time, they would do XYZ. They was like, why y'all doing all this for us? Because I was a vendor. People are not affected until it happens. So I needed that. The reason why we really wanted to do this is because I was tired of being a vendor and going to places where my target audience was not there. But I went and I did the work, and I put out that table from the trunk, and I was folding those shirts, and I was making drop-offs. When you put in that work, you appreciate your business and what you're doing a little bit more, but when you don't, I could tell the businesses that have been putting in that work, their work. Not like their work, right? Is once you're going to reap it eventually. Like even Michael Todd, he's a pastor. He says, "Oh, y'all think I just started preaching? I've been preaching for X amount of years. I just went viral that one time, and then I blossomed." He was like, "I've been preaching. Y'all just now saw it.
Yeah, y'all just not hearing about it.
when you keep doing the work and you keep believing in your business, it's going to hit the heights that you want it to hit. But you got to take your time, and you got to be okay with that time. And I think a lot of times people get impatient and they give up so quickly. But it's easy to do. Let's be honest. You don't even know what else you got going on, because sometimes, a lot of entrepreneurs are not full time. It's a part time. You know what I'm saying? And they get married, they got kids. It's all of that, right?
Yeah.
And along with what you said, Queen, what is your goal?
Right.
Like me and Brianna, we are sitting down, we are saying, what is our short term? What is our long term? What are we doing this for? Because when you think of that goal, that's what's going to keep you going. Like, yeah, we got our why, but what goal do we want to reach? Do we want to pack out the PNC? Do we want to do this? Do we want to have, what do we want to do? Because eventually that's going to be our goal. That's what's going to keep making us go. So the CoCo Drip will be in 3 different cities, okay? We will be in Charlotte, March the 4th. We will be in Atlanta, March the 11th, okay? And we will be in Durham, Bull City, March the 25th.
All right, March gonna be a big month for y'all.
Yeah. Oh, it's gonna be a big month. And we took, now learning about, of course, now being more invested in our mental health. You know, we gave, usually for the CoCo Drip road trip, we do Saturday and Sunday, or like Saturday. We gave ourselves 1 weekend off.
Get out of here.
You know,
Look at the CoCo Drip taking mental health days.
Okay, now.
All right now. All right.
So, I'm excited for it. I'm excited.
Hey, I am too. I'm gonna send my vendor your information offline so you can.
Yeah. And I'm gonna send you the link. And also, even with this time, he was like, "How can we be different?" Right. So this time, what we want to do, our marketing is gonna be different. We have to go back to the drawing board. Like, what do we want? Do we want more events, or do we want more people? We want our vendors to have more people, right? We want more people to come on this one day. So we're actually making it an annual thing, because we realize, okay, everyone's doing pop-ups. And after we would do the road trip, we would start doing it once a month. And I think it started being like, oh, we'll catch it next month. We'll catch it next month. So we was like, okay, we got to do something different. So we're doing it once a year. So we don't put
you don't burn out.
So we don't burn out and put our other businesses on pause.
Yeah.
I haven't really been doing Queen Redefined like that, right? Because everything's going on the CoCo Drip. She haven't been doing the jet lag housewife, because everything is going to the CoCo Drip. So we do it once a year. And don't get me wrong, we have sponsors who pay us to do the CoCo Drip at the events. We'll take that on, of course, but putting on a big event like this, we'll do it yearly. Again, we go back to the drawing board and say, how can we make the best of our time? We're going to do it for Women's History Month. Women's History Month, no, the CoCo Drip will be in a city near you, right? Again, this time, we want volunteers. Like, don't get me wrong, the community shows up and shows out in every city, right? But we want to show the community. We want to show Black men assisting these Black women in different ways, not just shopping. So we're actually looking for volunteers. If you identify as a Black man and you are either Charlotte, Atlanta, or Durham, you can sign up on our volunteer link to be a volunteer, and you can help assist them with setup or breakdown that day in either Charlotte, Atlanta, or Durham.
Jason, I see something for y'all to do.
I'm gonna send that link.
I mean, you said like I didn't already think about that, but it's okay. It's all right. Yeah.
I'm gonna send that link over.
Yeah. It's all right. Send me the link. But yeah, definitely we'll send the link. We'll definitely get put some manpower behind it and see if we can't get y'all squared away. Definitely get y'all squared away.
Yeah. You said what, Jason?
26th of March.
You said what?
26th.
25th.
25th, you're in Durham. Okay.
Yeah. And then I'll send you the whole, like, the blurbage, so that way you can just, if you want to or not, there's a sponsorship and vendors, and there's also volunteer. Because again, we have to realize people support. Again, I'm really big on different definitions. Like, I'm not trying to make you have my definition. There's different ways of supporting.
Right.
Just because you don't support me financially don't mean you don't support me. You telling somebody word of mouth, you bringing that vendor to me is support to me. Me being on here is support to me. So what we always try to do is put different ways to where you support how you feel able and led by the Spirit to support.
Facts.
Absolutely.
Facts.
Well,
Absolutely.
this has been great.
Hey man, hey, I
So-
am. Hey,
Ooh,
Ooey came through with the
what?
ooey.
With the
With the
ooey.
drip.
Ooey came
Literally.
with the ooey today.
Facts.
Ooey.
Facts.
Came
All right,
through
man.
with the drip.
CoCo
So-
drip at that.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
CoCo drip. So one
Yeah.
thing we ask our guests to do is to leave us with a word of advice or something, a nugget for our listeners and viewers to hang their hat on for the week.
Okay. I think for me, mine this week was gonna be charge it to the game and proceed. You know, you sometimes you just gotta charge you. I'm very self-aware because it's just all what I've been through in my life, right? I know my strengths, I know my areas of improvement. And sometimes every day is not gonna be a win, every day is not gonna be a loss. But sometimes you gotta charge it to the game and proceed, or you're gonna dwell in it.
Okay.
And there's money out here to be made. There's connections to be made. There's opportunities to be made. There's doors to go through. There's things to do. Sometimes you honestly have to say, okay, I just got to charge it to the game and I got to proceed because there's so many other things that I have to get done. But if I sit in it, then I can't get it done.
Right.
You just got to charge it to the game and proceed.
I like it.
Yeah.
Like it. Yeah.
Bam. Say it like that. Ooey. All right.
Again, we appreciate you so much.
Absolutely.
You came with a lot. A
Yeah,
lot. No,
yeah.
but it was a good a lot. It was, I mean,
Was.
yes, it was a good
Yeah.
a lot. And even though I've seen Queen Redefined be develop and blossom and grow.
Yeah.
Hearing the backstories, it's just like, wow.
Girl, you know.
Yeah.
You know. They don't know. You know.
It's
man do it to you. No, I'm just like, no.
No, it's awesome. It's awesome. So with that being said, Michael, you got it?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
Well, if you haven't yet, please like, subscribe, and continue to follow us on this journey. If you've been rocking with us so far, keep on keeping on because we have a lot more amazing episodes to come. I'd like to thank my two amazing co-hosts, Ms. Sharice Lovett, Mr. Jason Redmond. It's always a pleasure.
Yes.
And I'd like to thank our wonderful guest, Miss Ooey. I wish you the best on all your endeavors. I know it's going to be big. So, just shout us out when you really blow up. You feel me?
I will.
We are DTR.
Make sure you get your sister
all
up
right,
here.
I appreciate it.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
I'm gonna get my sister up here. I'm gonna be like, you would love this. And I think again, just with that fear, I'm learning fear and faith cannot exist in the same sentence.
Mhm.
That should have been my list right there. And sometimes
That was another one.
say you believe and then also say you have doubt. It just cannot. And sometimes you have to just go for it, right? But then you also have to be approachable. Like for instance, Sharice, like she makes me feel so like I could be myself. So even though I was scared to kind of come up here and talk, when you have someone that allows you to just be you're able to break that down a little bit more. Because what y'all just did was make me a little bit more open to do more interviews and podcasts. Because I've been getting asked, and I'm just like, I don't know. But fear and faith cannot exist in the same sentence, and I think
You're
that's
natural.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we are DTR Incorporated, a nonprofit organization geared toward uplifting, inspiring, empowering communities all over the world. I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in tonight. And remember, our goal is not to be better than anybody, but together we can achieve better for everybody. Thank you. Have a good night. Peace.
Bye.
Right.